Hello everyone, welcome to Hi-Fi Fever channel. I'm Lee388. This time, I'm going to share with you some new products from Sweden, these two new items right here. Honestly, when I first saw them in person, my first reaction was, oh, it's these kinds of things again. Ages ago, there seemed to be similar products too. So, what's so special about these? But to be a good professional audio reviewer, you can't just judge by appearance, you have to listen with your ears. Since I have them in hand, let's give them a try and see what kind of effect they actually have. Keep watching to find out. Before we begin, if you're watching this video but haven't subscribed to Hi-Fi Fever channel, hit that subscribe button. Your support helps me review and share more audio products with everyone. Enough talk, let's get to the video. This time, I'm going to share with everyone two new products from Entreq. Now, when you first see them, you might think they're ground boxes, but if you look closely, there's a hole in the middle. So, these two aren't actually ground boxes. The hole in the middle is for threading speaker cables through. But don't go thinking it's just a cable support to tie up your cables and stop them from vibrating. Of course, it's not that simple. This is actually a semi-passive electromagnetic field converter. It changes the electromagnetic field around your speaker cables through a non-contact method. And this electromagnetic field converter, there are 3 models in total. The top tier one is called Supreme, the one in the middle is Mainland Power, and there's also a smaller one called Magneus Signal. According to the factory information, this Magneus can suppress the spread around the battery wall, and at close range, it can also affect the distribution of the electromagnetic field. The shape is irregular. This helps the energy of the battery wall to be distributed more evenly, instead of concentrating in one spot. It can adjust the impedance of the electromagnetic field around the body, while not changing the electrical impedance of the conductor itself. Also, the manufacturer emphasizes that this is not absorption. Because the Magneus is not directly in contact with the signal path, it won't contaminate the signal or cause issues like impedance changes or frequency response alterations. If it only affects the electrical environment around the cable, then depending on where you place it, you might get different results. So, what's the working principle inside the Magneus? Let me take the Magneus Supreme as an example. Inside, there are actually 8 sets of vertically arranged devices that surround the cable, forming an encircling chamber. And inside these devices, there are different materials. This includes materials like wood, graphite, aluminum, copper, brass, and so on. These can generate conductivity and anti-magnetic properties. It's through the unique characteristics of these different materials, carefully calculated and arranged, that this is achieved. This allows you to achieve an effect that suppresses the diffusion of electromagnetic fields. In the end, you get a much quieter electrical environment, which enhances low-frequency control as well as the sense of air and depth. So how exactly do you use this battery wall converter? This time, I tried out 2 models, the Magneus Shopping and the Magneus Power, mainly using them with power cables and speaker cables. As for the other model, the Magneus Signal, I used it with signal cables and digital cables. Even HDMI cables can benefit from it. Let me first try out the Magneus Power. I started by plugging the power cable of the Solo S3 reference SACD player through the Magneus Power, and after that, I noticed the sound really had a bit more cohesion. Obviously, the bass and the sense of musical rhythm became more pronounced. You could really feel the beat pulsing stronger. Also, the contrast between the loud and soft parts of the sound improved as well. But after listening for a while, I started to feel that the sound was maybe a bit too heavy. It was missing that light, bouncy feeling. So, how did I solve this problem? Listen to this next song and I'll tell you all about it. Just now, I mentioned that the sound was a bit heavier, giving off an overly condensed feeling. So I tried moving this Magneus power to a different spot on the power cable. Earlier, it was closer to the side of the power pole, but then I shifted it to be nearer to the edge of the SACD. I noticed the sound became lighter, but the bass was gone, and it just didn't feel as satisfying as before. And as for the treble, it leaned towards being brighter. At that moment, I realized that, honestly, different positions really do give you different sound impressions. In the end, I tried moving it to somewhere around the middle of the power cable. At that point, I felt that the balance between the treble and bass was restored, and this was more in line with what I wanted to hear. After listening to this Magneus power, I tried using the same position again and switched to the Ballet 10 to see what the environment would be like. I found that it was even more obvious, the sense of rhythm, the cohesion, and the brightness of the low frequencies that I mentioned earlier. All of those qualities were present. And it was clearly even more enhanced. Plus, the soundstage was noticeably wider, and the sense of energy was stronger. Yeah, the musicality is really good too. Honestly, you get what you pay for. Suddenly, I thought of something, the slot in the middle. It seems like there's still one more spot. Let me try plugging in one more power cable and see what effect it has. So I even connected the Audiophiles FL10 Mark II integrated amps power cable as well, and I realized, honestly, there was no interference at all, and it actually improved things even further. Although it wasn't a dramatic, double the effect kind of improvement, it was genuinely good. After that, I asked the manufacturer, and they said, as a suggestion, you can use up to 3 power cables at most. Since it actually works, I think the Magneus Supple, even though it's not cheap, is worth it because you can use 3 cables at once. So I feel like it's a good deal. These two models, besides being usable on power cables, can also be used on speaker cables. This time, I have 2 of these Magneus power, so I tried connecting one to the speaker cable on one side, and I found that the effect is pretty much the same as when used on the power cable. Also, depending on where you place it on the speaker cable, you get different sound effects. If you get the chance to try it, you really should. I also suggest you listen and compare by moving it closer to the speaker or closer to the amp, and see which position you prefer. After that, I also tried placing it in the middle to listen to the effect, and then slowly moved it towards the side I preferred. That way, it's easier to find the spot that sounds best to you. I noticed that moving it closer to the amp gives you more treble, while moving it closer to the speaker gives you more bass. Of course, that's just how it is in my setup. Different combinations might react differently. You can go and experiment with it yourself and see what works for you. So, the electromagnetic field on the financial side is sorted out. As for NCH, there are also 2 types of grounding posts, Max S and Max D, which, together with the TUS, form a touch kiss set. This set can be used to stabilize the battery pack plugged into the back of the device, and it can also reduce radio frequency interference, which helps enhance the musical energy and the level of detail in the sound. Each touch kiss set comes with either a Max S or a Max T, and also includes a set of touch CU. The material also includes a Touch SI, which is a silver RCA connector. At the back, there's a screw head that can be attached to either the Max S or Max T, so you can plug it into the vacant RCA socket on the back of your device, and it will be effective. As for the sound quality, both models can eliminate noise, allowing you to hear even more musical details. Now, Magneus and Max T are not ranked in terms of high or low, rather, their sound signatures are a bit different. The Magneus leans towards higher delicacy and transparency, with a more refined and airy sound, while the Max T is more explosive and delivers a stronger sense of power and presence. As for whether you should use the TUS CU or the TUS SI, it really depends on your personal sound preference. After all, both are already included in the set. With both models, you can take your time to try them out and see which one suits you better. After trying out several of NJ's new products this time, I feel that when paired with the Angel ground box I'm currently using, they really complement each other. The whole setup's background becomes even quieter, and you can hear a lot more details. Some audiophiles might ask me whether they should get the Inch ground box first or add these new products first. Personally, I think it's better to get the NJ ground box first, and then add these new products. The effect will be even more noticeable. Also, I know that many audiophiles. Some people feel that Angela's products tend to emphasize coloration. Actually, when I first tried their ground boxes, I had the same impression. But later on, I realized that the coloration didn't come from the ground box itself, but from their ground cables. However, after so many years of improvements, their cables now don't emphasize coloration anymore. With these new products this time, there's basically no added coloration at all, you can hardly hear any. The main improvement is really in the sound quality. Alright, to wrap things up, these two Magneus products, when you place them in different positions, the difference in sound is actually quite obvious. So if you ever get the chance to try them out, and you don't get this effect, don't say I'm just making things up. You really need to spend some time, try them out slowly, like me, I spent quite a while before I found the right spot. Alright, that's it for this sharing. And here, I want to thank all the loyal members who have always supported Hi-Fi Fever channel. If you want to become a loyal member of Hi-Fi Fever channel, you can scan the code on the screen. Alright, that's all for now. See you in the next video.